everyone. Welcome to the last episode of the week of the year for File New. This is going to be the very last one for 2024. It's been such a fun ride. We will be back, of course, in the new year, but this is the last one for this year. I'm really excited because this is part of an entire holiday week that we have going on here on Adobe Live that is extremely exciting to be a part of. And we're going to be taking this opportunity to go through some new news, of course, as always, but we're also going to be tackling the old and what we have gone over top of the entire year. And it's just really exciting. You know, it's always really nice to do kind of an easy wrap up from the perspective of just looking back at what we've gone over and what has really stuck with us and what hasn't. And I'm excited to hear what you guys are most excited about. But we're going to do all of our regular things. I'm saying hello to everyone in the chat. We have all of the regulars. It's good to see you guys here. And hello to Oliver and Patrick, Christelle, Voodoo Val, Becca. If this is your guys' first time here, please also say hello in the chat. Just as a reference to anyone who's watching this, because it's part of the holiday stream, but are not aware of what File New is. File New is your best source of tech news, designer news, art news, all throughout the year. We hop through a bunch of different hyperlinks, bunch of different stuff. Vandals in the chat. Thank you for everyone that's saying hello over on YouTube as well. Really helps our viewership and the algorithm. Feed it the hungry algorithm. Hello to Stony. But without further ado, we can go ahead and we can hop into our first segment, which is always the news. So exciting end of the year news for Adobe. Mac app of the year is Lightroom. So every single year, Apple's App Store, they release a bunch of awards and nominations. We went over actually the nominations in a few episodes ago, and it turns out that Lightroom was the winner for Mac app of the year. Now, if you have not used Lightroom, this is definitely a great accolade towards why you should. The App Store editor said Adobe's Lightroom's newest AI-powered features have fundamentally changed how we edit photos and how we shoot them. They said AI-powered denoise completely upended how we shoot in low light. We took a different approach to photographing an indoor event where we couldn't use a flash. We set our camera ISO to 12,800, and this let us capture detail in low light, but with a ton of grain. And applying denoise and a few other simple adjustments resulted in great images even when we zoomed in. They said Lightroom's new lens blur tool helps us see old family portraits in a new light. And in a year full of promises about creativity and AI, few visual tools helped creatives realize their vision like Lightroom. Which, yeah, I mean, I'm a Photoshop boy through and through, and this was the year that I actually started messing around with Lightroom. I have actually mostly used Lightroom for myself on mobile, which has its own thing. This is for the Mac app, which is also a complement and partner to the other app. But this is not really something that I am more interested in, and it's nice to see that it's getting great responses. Now, how about you guys? Have you guys used much of Lightroom? What is your go-to choice? Would love to hear. And also a big hello to Anna, who also just showed up in the chat. Next up in some news is January 1st, 2025, only a few weeks away, is Public Domain Day. What does that mean? Works from 1929 are open to all. So that might be a few really recognizable characters to you. Sound recordings from 1924 are also available. This is coming from the Center for the Study of Public Domain. And the first one and most notable one that you're going to recognize is Popeye. Popeye is finally available to anyone who wants to draw him. Thimble Theater debuted in the New York Journal on December 19th, 1919. And this is now finally a way that you can, you know, without fail, go and use Popeye, and you could, I don't know, you could sell apples with Popeye because it's now public domain. But he's not the only one. Tintin also. The series first appeared in French on January 10th, my birthday, 1929, in Le Petit Vincentième, which is the Little 20th, which I would love to hear if I actually said that. Anna's in the chat saying, get your cans of spinach ready. Oliver uses Lightroom all the time. Lightroom Classic, though, not mobile. And also hello to design classes in YouTube chat. Glad to hear you're saying first time watching, and it's a pleasure to have you here. We would love to hear your favorites and other things that you ran into over the year, and any other design news or update news that you have. But these are not the only things that are going to be actually in public domain. As you imagine, there's a bunch of other stuff that's also hitting their expiration date, and one of them is a dozen more Mickey Mouse animations, including Mickey Mouse's first movie where he actually talked, which, if you didn't know, and this was trivia to me, it was called The Carnival Kid. And so now actually Mickey Mouse's voice is becoming public domain. Up until this point, it was Steamboat Willie, and I don't even know if he was technically Mickey Mouse at that point yet. But as with anything else, like, these only apply to the designs that they were at the time when their expiration is happening. So like Mickey Mouse as of now, how you see him with the red pants and yellow buttons, like, that's not a thing yet because it was all black and white. So that character design is not available, but this character design is available. As far as some musical compositions, Singing in the Rain, lyrics by Arthur Freed and music by Nakio Herb Brown, is available for public domain. Tiptoe Through the Tulips, which has been kind of popularized by Tiny Tim, but this was actually something way before Tiny Tim. That song came out, Tiptoe Through the Tulips, and that's available. Anna wants us to do a Mickey Mouse impression. You don't want that. That will burn everyone's ears. And Oliver says, theoretically, this means they can now be included in Firefly's training. Wonder if they will be. I doubt it. I highly doubt that. Just to be safe, you know? Never want to be... That's the good thing about Adobe and Firefly training is they really are overcautious. And so I think they'd probably, you know, resist from that. Stoney's saying, does that mean that there really might be a Popeye horror movie like I've been seeing people post? Absolutely. Yes, there is that one company. They did Winnie the Pooh also, because Winnie the Pooh also went into public domain, and so they made a horror movie. They are really on top of the expiration dates of all of these different public domains, and you can too. One of the cool ones for sound recordings that's coming in is Rhapsody in Blue. Ever heard of it? The New York Times... not New York Times, but the New York Sound of the City, recorded by George Gershwin, is going to be available. So if you want to put that on anything that you're making, starting January 1st, 2025, you can. And then It Had to Be You, recorded by Isham Jones Orchestra and by Marianne Harris, is also going to be available. You know, it's going to be It Had to Be You, which famously I think Frank Sinatra covered, but you are going to be able to use this old version. You can plop it into Premiere alongside your video, upload it, and you're not going to get any content strikes because guess what? It's going to be free. Anna found out about Tiny Tim through SpongeBob. Yes, of course. Who doesn't have that fond memory of really weird music coming and being like, what is going on? But yeah, check it out. There's links to 2 articles about it and also the public domain organization in the Raindrop, so you can check it out. There's a bunch more. There might be some that stuck out to you, but these are the ones that stuck out to me. And maybe next year we'll do a little something with Popeye and Tintin hanging out, dancing to Tiptoe Through the Tulips. Welcome to Peter in the Behance chat. Good to see you. If you guys are watching, by the way, there are 2 chats going on. Love it if people hopped over to YouTube for a bit, but there are 2 chats, and I'd like to say hello to both. And if you are in either, do not feel alone. I'm happy you're here. Next up, we have Instagram news. And Instagram is announcing on its Instagram blog that they will now let you showcase your favorite moments from 2024 by adding like a collage to your story of all the different things that you did throughout the year. The new feature, which is only available through the first week of January, lets you combine a bunch of pictures from throughout the year and share them with friends. This was found by Emma Roth at The Verge, which is where I picked it up. And the thing that I really wanted to highlight about this was we really clearly are in the age of nostalgia. Obviously, there's always things that are reflective in the new year, but with Spotify Wrapped, with Instagram collages, there's even like a Wrapped or a Rewind with Steam video games. if you have content that you need to create at the end of the year, people love to indulge in looking back on and remembering it. I mean, look at this stream right now. We're doing the same thing. We haven't gotten to our favorites yet, but that is something just to stay mind of, and it's exciting. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Next up, we have a new social. What is this? This is Ryan Barrett, the founder of Bridgefed, and Anuj Ahuja, an engineering leader and writer, founded a new nonprofit, and their mission says that we believe that a healthy ecosystem competes on innovative features, not critical mass. The social web should be centered around people, not platforms, and artificial walls should not deny them the relationships they've built online. Our mission is to liberate people's networks from their platforms, enabling the last network effect and leveling the playing field across the open social web. We're betting on services built on open protocols like ActivityPub and @Proto, and focused on making it easier to connect and move between platforms. We will work directly with developers to continue ensuring competition in the open social web, with a focus on advocating for users every step of the way. Now, what this is a new social, is not a new social platform. I know Oliver is saying another one. No, this is a nonprofit that's going to be focusing on actually really funneling and supporting the Fediverse. We talked a lot about that over the year, and it's something that is kind of at the verge of becoming, actually mass adoption, but we're getting really so close. And we're getting actually offshoots that are now nonprofits that are trying to help that, so that we're not just tied and linked to one singular platform. And it's just exciting. So we'll see if it goes anywhere, but we will check it out. And then we have Tumblr. Tumblr is introducing communities. This is similar to, think like Reddit. It announced a year ago, but now it's out of beta. Topics include photography, games, marine biology. There can be posts that are only visible within communities, and it can be public or it can be private. This is an interesting take. One, Tumblr's still around. I feel like Tumblr got big again for artists and creators, but kind of has been, once again, a sleeper service, but something to always keep in mind. But there are now these communities, which a lot of social networks and a lot of providers are realizing that communities and group messaging is where a lot of people want to be, because not everything needs to be for everyone. It can be within a tight, intimate group of people. And yeah, it's something to check out if you haven't logged back into Tumblr in a while. And then our last one that we have for today is news article, at least, is that Behance posted the top 3 visual trends of 2024. Now, as I pull this up, is there anyone in chat who wants to guess what any of them are as we pull this up? I can definitely see all of them and say, hey, yeah, like that makes sense. But it's also kind of surprising to see some of them. So here we are. This is just available at behance.net/blog/visual trends2024. And these are the top 3 visual trends of 2024 over the last 2 decades. Behance has become the leading platform for over 55 million diverse and global creatives to showcase their work, discover talent, and find inspiration across every discipline. As the year comes to a close, we've analyzed top-performing Behance projects spanning graphic design, photography, illustration, 3D art, and beyond to identify the most influential visual trends that shaped the world of design in 2024. So looking back on it, electric pink. And I saw so much electric pink. I mean, even look at, Pink Pony Club. That pink and that presence of pink is something that was very present, kind of alongside Brat Summer. But they're saying that electric pink emerged as a dominant color trend, captivating designers and audiences alike with its bold and electrifying presence. Really great examples here. This one is by Arug Design, Song Yi Paik, and Jintake Park. As it means, there is also some motion design as well. We're looking at like this really cool illustration with these long arms reaching around this woman holding a pink tiger on top of a pink floor, and there is a yellow background, but it kind of works with the pink to vibrate, and that's the illustration collection I-2024 by Lucia Pham. Next up is Earth and Craft, and the best way to kind of describe this is a contrast or opposite of the electric pink. It says the Earth and Craft trend embraced a return to nature and grounded aesthetics. Drawing inspiration from the earth, designers leaned into organic shapes, earthy tones, and natural textures to create designs that evoke warmth, authenticity, and deep connection to the natural world. This is something I personally saw a lot with luxury brands, finance brands, and just things that I couldn't afford, honestly. Fashion too was there, but health and wellness products. I saw a lot of this. You can even see there's a picture of soap up here that has the screen, and there's some of this makeup, but also these glasses down here. It's something that was just really present. Textures of wood, textures of like soil almost, and canvas. Things that feel very tactile. It's something that you've seen kind of an expensive interior design for a while as things have gone beige. Last week we talked about the color of the year from Pantone and also the color of the year from Behr, and both of them were shades of brown or red. Something to stay and keep in mind. And just something that I think will continue into the new year. Obviously, as with anything, it's a pendulum, so we'll see if things turn to be super synthetic and plasticky in like a year or two. But I also think this is a reflection of people's kind of focus on sustainability now, and there's a little bit more of thought into design, and people like to kind of gear towards that because they're willing to invest in more sustainable products. And the very last one is translucency, which I am a sucker for glass rivets. I don't know if I have anything that I can pull within arm's distance. Oh, yeah, because there's a lamp over there, but I can't pull that in. But I love this. I love fogged glass. It's funny because for years I really hated glass bricks. Now I love glass bricks. From the 80s kind of came back around. And it says, translucency emerged as a defining theme in 3D art and digital compositions throughout 2024. Artists harness the power of overlapping layers of semi-transparent shapes to create a sense of depth, lightness, and fluidity in their work, often creating ethereal, dreamlike visuals, which also aligns with the trends of 2025 that were predicted by Adobe that we talked about last week, with the idea of ethereal and energy and kind of this in-between realistic and like vague, wishy-washy, ethereal moment. So it'll be interesting to see kind of this also continue to funnel into that and lift that up and become even more of a thing in 2025. But those are the three. I obviously just spoke to them. They have the best of Behance 2024 just in general. I really suggest you go check it out. Once again, there are millions of creators on Behance that are sharing really cool work, and these are just a few of the buckets that they were able to identify. And those are the news stories that we have for this week for this time. But let's look back a little bit on some of our favorite things. I wanted to really call out personally the Content Authenticity Initiative. This was a spotlight at Adobe Max back in October, which I was there. This was on episode 64 of our show, and it enables creatives to protect their work by securing credit to their files with supporting programs. I mean, like even including like LinkedIn already, but basically it is developing a universal kind of checks and balances to art. You can go and you can see the modifications that have happened to a piece of work, when they were first viewed online, who created them, and gives creators the control to that even if someone screenshots their work and uploads it again somewhere else, that the system will be able to recognize based off of the information that was uploaded to content credentials. Oh, sorry, my hands. But to content credentials to be able to then reference it and say this is where it came from. I think as obviously artificial intelligence gets bigger, as it becomes easier to plagiarize, as it becomes easier to steal work and mass produce it before getting shut down, things like content credentials hopefully will be an answer, or at least a partial solution to something that a lot of artists are really struggling with online. And so I thought that this was probably my most exciting news story of the year. I'm just excited to see it kind of go into play, and I can't wait to start putting it on anything that I create. But I don't think you can put it on live streams now, can you? So I guess someone's just pretending to be me. Good luck, guys. We should come up with a secret safe word, Next up is also another Adobe thing, just because we were at it and we're talking about some Mac stuff, is Project Turntable. If you missed this, this was also on episode 64. This was also shown at Max as a part of Sneaks with Kelsey Slay down here, which we all love Kelsey Slay. Now, what this does is not released. It's not even on the roadmap yet for a thing that's going to be released, but it lets you leverage AI to turn 3D objects, change perspective, orientation, And as someone who often draws something and wants to just move it ever so slightly, it would be really nice to be able to use this and be able to apply exciting new dimensions to existing 2D platforms, because I've been saying I'm going to learn 3D for like 500 years now, and it's becoming obvious that I have not done it yet. Oh, hey, Kieran, welcome to the chat over on YouTube. And yeah, no, these are all really great, exciting things. And then number 3, there was an article that we talked about in episode 61. It was called The Desperation of the Instagram Photo Dump. I thought it really was a good profile of how the entire world of social media is changing. This is a New York article by Kyle Chakia, and said that people are viewing single posts as risky because recently Instagram made it so you can post up to 20 in a carousel, and people do this thing where they kind of look like it's laissez-faire and post as if they don't care, but actually it's really curated, but it's 20 pictures and it's like life lately, and it's like a bunch of pictures of them in all these really beautiful, wonderful places, but you have to take the picture in a way that it doesn't look like you tried to pose for it like it's 2015. And just as with anything else, this will also be out of date within 2-3 years. Our way of interacting online and creating content and sharing content is constantly changing. And even though this could be labeled as the desperation of the Instagram photo dump, it's also something that everyone is very used to and what people are looking for. Because like I was just saying a second ago, some people are saying if you post just a single post, it could be risky. You want to do at least something where you can swipe through, because you're really saying like, this is the thing that I want you to focus on, which can be really intense. But also that's how we used to do it, because if you guys remember, Instagram used to be only pictures with weird filters that were only square, and you could only post one at a time. So the fact that you can post up to 20 now, and that's kind of the standard now, is pretty insane. Next up, Roblox. We talked about Roblox a lot this year. Roblox in IKEA. Roblox, or IKEA more so in Roblox rather than Roblox and IKEA, but also Walmart in Roblox. We talked a little bit about Dress to Impress, which really took off, which is the one game in Roblox that skyrocketed, and people dress different outfits and then people judge them based off of their outfits. Those really took off. And then the monthly and daily active users skyrocketed. I pulled this stat right before we went live today. So this is reporting on Q3. And this is measuring in millions of daily active users. And there are 88.9 million daily active users on Roblox. There were illegal casinos. They had some child labor issues, predator issues. But it's clear that Roblox is this huge behemoth that brands and designers are starting to take note of, because people are there, and there's something that is, in 2025 that's going to have to deal with Roblox. So I don't want to say Roblox is a favorite of mine, but it is something that I can like really round up and cap 2024 in for that. In the same way that, I really kind of shilled Blue Sky. I love Blue Sky. I'm on Blue Sky as RyanSelvy.com. We also have the TikTok drama going on. We are now less than a month away from TikTok potentially being banned in America. Both Apple and Google have been notified that they need to start taking precautions to be able to take it off on the day that is noted, which I think is January 19th or January 16th. And it's just, yeah, it's been such a weird year. It's going to continue to be a weird year. And it's just a lot ahead of us, so I'm excited. Umacorn saying, aren't they saying Roblox is a form of child labor? Yes, they are. Yeah, there's controversy around it too. I mean, there's controversy around all these platforms. But as artists, we have to learn, what is the healthy and valuable way to interact with them, and what is the smart way to not interact with them. So Anna said, I found this stream thanks to Blue Sky. Hey, check it out. Check it out. Thanks, Anna. Thanks for being here. Also, check out Anna over on Blue Sky as well. Also, Adobe Live's over on Blue Sky, and I post on it from time to time, and I'm trying to get better about it, but what can you do? But that's everything we have for news, at least at the beginning. Let's hop over to one of my favorite segments next, though, which is resources. I'm so bummed that Robert Wennerberg is not here, because these are actually coming from him. He sent them to me a bit ago, and it's been a while that I've always forgetting to get onto Behance and check my DMs. But he wanted to share a few different things that are helpful for him. The first is the Baltic Archive. This is a website that contains a wide range of material related to Baltic's history, charting the building's original use between 1950 to 1980 as part of the Rankhovis flour mills complex through to design and conversion process of the 1990s to transform the disused silo building into a contemporary art gallery, which opened in 2002. The Baltic Archive also chronicles, God, oh man, all right. I'm gonna put the Santa hat on and see if that helps me and my tongue. I'm now wearing a Santa hat if you're listening and not watching. But Baltic Archive also chronicles Baltic's history as a site of contemporary art exhibition and production, and its 25 plus years of development as an arts organization. Through physical material and digital documentation, from the pre-opening newsletter publication floor plans and architectural information, press cuttings and printed materials, exhibition images, and interpretation guides to video and audio recordings of critically engaged discussions, interviews with artists, and documentation of live events and performances. And it's a cool website. Everyone's giving me smiley faces. Give me some Santa Clauses, honestly. Give me some Santa Clauses in chat. Behance is blowing you YouTubers out of the water, by the way, just to let you know. But if you go to the website, like I said, everything's going to be available in the raindrop that's included. But this is at archive.baltic.art. And you can explore and see a bunch of the different works. You get different write-ups about it. Really beautiful stuff. Got some videos as well. And it's all free for use. So, or free for consumption, not free for use. But this is something that's really cool, and I'm really appreciative that he sent it over my way. Next up is the New Museum in their digital archive. First launched in 2010 and relaunched in 2017. The digital archive is a dedicated platform where the New Museum's digital collection is cataloged, managed, and published through the 40-year legacy of the New Museum. The digital archive tells the history of contemporary art. Its early days is a radical departure from modernism to its global present. The digital archive narrates the history of the New Museum through the works of the hundreds of pioneering artists who have been exhibited, and tells a larger story about the dramatic changes in art at the end of the 20th century that have laid the groundwork for culture and emerging art today, which is also a great website. Oh, there we go. I got some Santas in the chat. Thank you. I appreciate you guys. And Oliver's over on YouTube with the Santa. I appreciate you. Then the last one that we have is artinflanders.be, and this is Flemish art and heritage collections in great detail. This collection managers grant permission to freely use images of artwork of which the artist has died over 70 years ago. You can download and reuse these images without restrictions. The pictures can also be used for commercial purposes. And if you're wondering what that is artinflanders.be. You know, and it's just a huge catalog that you can search. It just kind of meets you with a search criteria. What happens if we type in Santa? I didn't do this, so this is always a little dangerous. So actually, I'm going to move it off here just in case there's any like nudity or anything. There's no Santa, you guys. What if I say Christmas? What if I say December? There we go. Oh, and I'm glad it's off the screen because there's nudity. So you don't have to take my word for it. Check it out. You can use it in your own work. Pretty cool. But as the description says, and as we were talking about, let's go over a few of our favorite things that we went through over this year. And the very first one that I want to call out is eye candy. I could not find which which episode we talked about eye candy for. But eye candy is a filmmaking platform that allows creators to exhibit their work, exchange ideas, and find inspiration. It offers a range of resources for filmmakers, from practical tutorials to inspirational content, helping both amateur and professional filmmakers enhancing their craft. And the cool thing about eye candy as a resource is that it goes into popular culture and it grabs all of the different shots that are happening in cinematography. You can see how people pan, how people morph between different scenes. On the screen, we have one from Kendrick where he's moving his head and the camera's moving with the camera. But then there's also a shot of projections on top of T-shirts. There's ones when they kind of adhere the camera to the person as they move, so the person stays still and everyone else moves. We have the opposite, where kind of Dua Lipa is in the middle and everyone's running around her and there's a blur, zooming in and out of cameras, doing a split screen, doing fisheye lens through a keyhole. And you can go in and you can click on any of them. And then when you do that, it will actually pull up examples of other pieces that are in the same way, and then gives you examples that you can actually check out the source material for. Naturally, as I try to show it right now, it's not working, but it normally works great. It's just because we're live. Is there a raindrop for this stream? Oh, yes, it should be over on the YouTube. It probably just hasn't been pushed yet over into the Behance yet, but I'll go ahead and I will put it in the chat for you down here. And this is iCandy, which is EYECANNNNDY, and it's a great resource. You can also just like search for anything and say like Zoom, and it'll search for it and it'll pull it up. But that's just the first one. We have a few other things that I really wanted to call out. Design spells was another phenomenal one that we looked at, which is kind of similar in iCandy, but is for mobile and app design magic that they call it. Basically, it's when you do something in a app or a website and something just feels really cool. A lot of times there's animations on the screen. I know Google tends to do this with little surprises, but they're even kind of highlighting the mesmerizing animations in Spotify Wrapped. This is a chess-themed one from Google where when you search for chess, the World Chess Championship 2024, there's confetti coming from the ceiling with different horses coming down and different, rooks and stuff. And it's constantly updated. It's run by 3 people. And even if you're not a UI UX designer, this is really fun stuff to look into. I look at this website a lot for when I'm trying to come up with new approaches to motion design, but even just how people are composing the attention in both apps and websites is very interesting. There's always like awards, AAAWARDS, but or maybe never mind, I lied. It's not AAA. It's AWWWARDS. But this in itself is just different ways to kind of look at how motion is being applied to design, because motion is no longer just for movies or cartoons. It is now in the interfaces and pieces of work that we interact with on a daily basis, because now you have a little animation machine in your hand at any given time. And greetings from the dark side, says Ray Lancashire. Thank you for being here. And let us know what you're into for the year as we kind of recap all the different resources and links that we're excited about. Another thing I wanted to call out was how to talk about film. And this is learn how to analyze with this cheat sheet. And this is in Film Studies 101. This is from episode 56. It's a video essay by Patrick H. Willems. It's a 90-minute video full of knowledge. It has words like mise en scène, which means everything you see within the frame of the shot, and it goes through everything about how to analyze film from formalist to ideological to psychoanalytical. It talks about different terminology and words you can use, about panning and zooming. And I think it's super important whether you're getting into movies or even if you're just working on social content and you want to be able to talk about it. There is a lot that you can take out of the analyzing of movies that you can then apply to things that you create in Premiere or After Effects. And it's 90 minutes, so maybe, put it on while you're eating dinner, or maybe when, you're commuting and you're not driving, it could be something you could save offline. Maybe it'll be on an airplane. It's a really good 90 minutes. He edits it quite well, obviously, because he's talking about analyzing it, but is something that I learned a lot on, and it was something that I was a big fan of. And then also, since we're just talking about learning, I loved digital fonts and the quick rundown that we got from it in episode 62, which was the type episode. And we learned about typesetting. It's optical character recognition and how technology influenced type, from typewriters to computers to the daisy wheel printer, which I had actually never even heard about a daisy wheel printer, which is what is on the screen right now. It is this singular wheel with a bunch of spokes coming off of it that all have different letters, and then it rotates and kind of hits and that's how it types. And this was before the typewriter. It talked about the optical character recognition for once we started working with computers and being able to feed computers with papers and then being able to scan the papers, and how that, every single letter form had to look different so that there were no errors, to all the way up to more recent times where we were looking at 8-bit, and then we were also all the way up to where we have, like 8K monitors that can show down to the tiniest thing. And so we're working with vectors, and you don't have to use bitmap, and it's just a nice easy read. Maybe if you're sitting on the toilet, it sounds silly, but there are things that you can just learn nice, quick and easy. Do a quick read, and it's definitely a fun thing that we kind of went through. Or you can just check out our history of type episode, which I said was episode 62. I had a really good time doing that. I like doing the themes, and that was fun. What else? One more thing, guys. Most used colors and least used colors in logo design. The rarest logo colors are seashell, lavender blush, pale green, violet, honeydew, and mint cream. And if you're listening and you're not watching, I do not know how to describe honeydew to you. It is very close to white. A lot of these are very close to white, and that's obviously pretty obvious. That's why they wouldn't be in. But I was surprised that violet was not in many logos, because violet is very similar in this color hue to Twitch's color. And Twitch is such a huge brand, maybe people are afraid to get close to it. But a lot of times you can at least find something that is a little similar. This comes from Binder. They have a blog post about it. And then the most common colors are like black, white, midnight blue, and crimson. All things that you would be able to understand. Umacorn is saying honeydew, and Clever is saying honeydew is green, which, yeah, it's green. But, I mean, look at this is honeydew technically, which is, I'll give you guys a hexadecimal value, is F0FFF1, which means if you're doing CMYK, which is cyan, magenta, yellow, key black, there's only 5 cyan and 7 yellow, and both magenta and key black are 0, which just gives you the understanding that it is like far up in the top left, like so close to white. Voodoo Val is saying honeydew is like lime sorbet. Stoney says it's not ripe enough yet. And Oliver is also agreeing that there are not enough purple logos. But this is also just something to be aware of. Maybe you want your brand to stand out. Maybe you want to understand why these colors are not very popular. This is based on an analysis of 15,000 brand logos. That link can also be found in Raindrop under, I forget which episode, but I digress. Let's hop into Hyperlinks. Hyperlinks is the fun time when we get to hop into some websites that are just fun and create and make the internet a great place. I wanted to first do Isle of Tune, which is this fun little city builder that is all web-based. You can also get it on your iPhone, but you're going to have to pay for it if you play with it on your iPhone. It is free as a browser-based thing. Just isleoftune.com. You'll see when you load it up, it'll try to get you to get it for the iPad. Oh, wow. It still saved my thing from that, so I'll hit no. Now, I'm not going to share my audio because it'll drive y'all nuts, or maybe I will. I'm just going to draw. No, we're gonna do that. We're gonna draw a little bit like this. We'll just draw a few things here. All right, so I'm drawing a bunch of roads onto this grid, and it's isometric. And then I'm gonna start adding little houses. And you'll see when I put them down, there is, well, let me make sure I'm sharing my audio. Gonna go, and we're gonna say audio output. Remind me to turn this off, guys, because it's gonna drive you nuts otherwise. But you'll see as I put it down, it gives little dings. And that's all for houses. And then I'm going to hit tree and put that. And you'll see that's a different note. I told you guys this would drive you nuts, but it's all for part of the experience. And then let's put some street lamps, which is a little bit more like beats. It's like unts, unts, unts. I'm going to put this all around. And then we'll do a little bit of flowers, little flower pots. And the flower pots are their own little noises. All right, guys. And then are you ready for some chaos that's about to happen? I'm going to take these cars, and as we put the cars all around the little city that we've built, we're going to place them all. Oh, I can only place 4. Yeah, and then we're going to hit go. And like magically, it kind of makes the resemblance of a song. And you can save it, you can share it. All right, guys. And very, very fun. Big fan. Gonna turn off my audio capture. Sorry if I, made you guys all lose your hearing. But it's called Isles of Tune. ISLEOFTUNE. It says copyright 2024 by Happylander Limited. All rights reserved. Go ahead and check them out. Next up on Hyperlinks, we have the microwave. This has no creative resource to any of you. I hope I don't get in trouble just for showing this, because this has absolutely nothing to do with anything. But the beauty of this guy is it's called microwave.vercel.app. It gives you 4 seconds, and you try to stop the microwave before it gets to 0. Oh, sometimes it doesn't work. Nope. I didn't even get close enough to score for this. Come on, give me a score. I'm doing so bad it's not even giving me a score, which is so annoying. But basically, you hit it, and eventually if you get close enough, say game over. 3, 2, 1, 0. And then it normally gives you a score. The highest I got earlier was like, I think 9,500, but it's not popping up. That's it. That's the whole website. That's the whole thing. Voodoo says, and yet this is my favorite part. That hurts, Voodoo. That hurts, Val. Put a lot of work into the other parts. You like the microwave the most, and I can't even get it to work. But yeah, you know how it goes. Also, to explain Isle of Tune in the Behance chat, Ray is saying looks like a 3D version of Pac-Man. That would be fun, right? Yes. Hi, Sui, or Sui Flavor. Thank you for being here, and this is all real hopping on in. Also, we have Vintage Tech Logos. That is a fun website that I found, I think through OMG Lord. And this is just an arena website filled, or arena board with a bunch of vintage tech logos, which sometimes the best times to get inspiration for the future is to look in the past. But a lot of these are kind of before, everything looks like Twitter or Apple or whatever. And it's just a really fun way to be able to look at, how they were able to use really limited resources but still create a cool logo. Also look at this crazy one for a Whamco case, or case by Whamco. Vaco seems like something that I would be really into, and all just really neat. And there's a bunch of them, and that's just at are.na/chris-braden/vintage/tech/logos. And what do you know? Final one that we're going to talk about before we get on to our favorites from the year is Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. You guys remember this web series, very popular on YouTube. Actually got picked up, I believe, by Netflix, and they created this website just recently. And at, I think, DHM, wait, is that right? Wait, Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared.tv. Yeah, so it's just dhmis.tv. And the reason I wanted to call this one out specifically is because it's so important in these moments to know your style and to know kind of what people expect from you. So when you load up the page, everything looks felt, and it looks like it's all created just like the videos initially. And it does this really quick pan in where you can then see like a felt hand on a mouse, and you see some eyes. But then the navigation is all these different small stop motion experiences to kind of get to the shop or to watch episodes. And as you kind of hop around, they do such a great job at staying true to the form and reflecting their medium. Now, I think you could do this all by hand, which I think they did, which is kind of crazy. But you can even see the logos kind of look like, I mean, the letters are felt letters that seem to have been photographed and uploaded. I think you could probably use texture in general and apply this to, like, this background here. It gives a sense of depth that is very appreciated. And just go ahead and hop around on the website. Even if you're not a fan of the series, you're going to really appreciate just how the website's built and the way that they kind of added small animations and color and a lot of personality to it. But yeah. And then let's talk about our favorites. All right. My favorite, which might be actually my favorite thing that we went through the entire year at all, was tinyawards.net. And it's essentially just a collection and an award system of hyperlinks. This is all things that says basically a bunch of little single-serving websites. You know, you have your main awards, you have multiplayer, you have the committee that put it all together. But you can go and you can just pop into these different websites. We talked about this Neil Fun website where you can kind of combine different things like wall and cave and turns into or wall and hole and turns into cave, or like water and cave and that turns into lake, and just kind of these different fidget toys that are websites. But these are all different awards to showcase different people that created single-serving websites. Once again, that is tinyawards.net, and it's a great waste of time. It's a great way to be inspired by something, and I would recommend checking them all out. There are some that are multiplayer, like cursor watching, which just says you are entering a space where corners of the internet coverage in real time. All actions you see are done by real people, and all actions you take will be seen by those same people. Please be respectful. No action is required. Only watch and bear witness. And it just shows different cursors all on different websites doing different things, and it's really cool. And just someone coded it and put it out there for free, and it's really fun. And it has a whole write-up and talk about it, and it being kind of an available like art exhibition. As far as we come, we always want to design retro websites. Yes, of course, just because like there is something in nostalgia, just as we're always talking about. And we only have a few minutes left, but I also wanted to highlight Is My Blue. We talked about this on which episode? Episode 60. It basically just tests to see if the same blues are blue or green. So this says, is my blue your blue? And it shows us this green. Some would say it's honeydew. I would say it's green. Then it presents you with a new color. Then you hit this is blue. I think this is blue. This is green. This is blue. This is green. This is blue. This is green. And it says your boundary is at hue 164, greener than 94% of the population. For you, turquoise is blue. And the reason why I was thinking that is because, like, if I walk into a room and I'm looking at the wall and the wall is this color, like, that's going to be blue. If I look at the wall, I'm going to say that's blue. That's green. I'm going to say that's blue. I'm going to say that's green. That's green. That's blue? Yeah. I guess I'm just a green guy. I'm just a green guy through and through. It just goes to show you how color is all relative. So. We only have a little bit of time left. And I want to hop into a quick little section of Spotlight, especially for this Christmas season. So let's check it out. For this week's Spotlight, there is a really cool roundup of really great Christmas cards by artists rather than just buying ones in bulk from, giant retailers. This is from Creative Boom, Tom May, and they just did a really great job at highlighting some really cool Christmas cards that you can buy. There's one by Maz Layden, which has this vintage wallpaper, wrapping paper aesthetic of illustrations of like a rocking horse and ornaments with beautiful greenery coming in from the sides, but the colors aren't necessarily completely traditional Christmas colors. You have some blues in there, but really balances that tan and red well with the green and the black. There's also Christmas cards by Lizzie Lomax, which looks like a kind of like a stamping or a stencil of a wreath with some very crudely drawn shapes, but then this beautiful bow that is like line art on top of it. You have 2024 New Edition Card Collection by Rohan E. Thompson, and these are really cool zoom close-ups of Mrs. Claus and Santa Claus and the elves with some sparkling shoes on Miss Santa Claus, Mrs. Claus, and then also over like close-up of Santa Claus eating a cookie. He has rings on both hands. Didn't know he was such a big ring guy, but he's got some milk in one hand, and it's like this shiny aesthetic. But there's a bunch of these. There is Hello Dodo. There's some crazy cutouts from Sarah Morpeth. The Elvira VV Designs did pack of 6 Love and Joy Christmas cards, and it's all blue. Like it's really inspiring and cool to see people kind of lean into the blue, because you don't think of the blue as something that is Christmassy. This one is by Twonks, and it is a comic, and I always love comics. It says, "Here's my letter to Santa." And the mom says, "I think he's old enough to know the truth." And then the dad says, "We have something to tell you." And then the dad says, "I'm not your real father." Which, that's hilarious. That's great. But check those out. There's a whole collection of them. Once again, that's on creativeboom.com, and it's the best 2024 Christmas cards by independent artists and designers, and it's written by Tom May. Check it out. And then we have a game that... well, more than one game, and it's the Rise of Design-led board games. The article is called Game On, a look into the rise of design-led board games. This is on It's Nice That, which we all know I love, and Chapel Ellison. This is a picture of this game called Snakes of Wrath, which I actually have. Check it out. And they're like Mahjong tiles, but you connect them together and you cut other people off with snakes. And I played it at a bachelor party this year, and I loved it because of how it was designed and how it felt and the easiness of it. But it's really cool to see how design is becoming at the forefront of these games. You think of something like Life, and obviously Life was designed, but the peak of it was not to focus on design. The peak of it was just for the fun and the experience. Now the focus is also on making things that are beautiful and kind of look mature. There's Nuts a Go-Go, which I've never played. There's Here Comes the Dog, which is like wood cutouts with a bunch of little tiny dogs and like a big fireplace. There's Ninja Master, which is kind of like running guys around these different wood blocks. And it's fun to see the different materials people use. Wavelength is a very popular one with a trippy geometric shapes jumping over top of each other, kind of like a trippy thing, but the whole thing is about connecting with what someone else is thinking. And it's just a cool write-up, and it's fun, and it's always nice to see new things in new forms, and just to see how design can really make an effect on absolutely everything. There's something that a art teacher said to parents when they came to student-teacher conferences, parent-teacher conferences, that you're worried about your kid going into art or design or anything. Look around you, and everything has had an artist at least touch it in some regard. But we tend to forget that, and it's always nice to see a nice call out on the people who really do care about it, and are creating really beautiful things. So, Batal says, "I'm okay. All right, I'm good. You will be okay, and everything will be okay." But unfortunately, we are at time, and I just want to make sure that I say happy holidays. Wow, I'm super orange. I've been orange this whole time. I am super thankful for all of you, and I hope that everyone, no matter what you celebrate, if you celebrate nothing, if you celebrate Christmas, if you celebrate Hanukkah, if you celebrate Kwanzaa, if you celebrate Festivus, if you celebrate just the winter solstice, if you celebrate nothing, I hope this time is a time for you to relax, unwind. The time between Christmas and New Year's is some of my favorite time of year, because everyone in the world decides that it's time to take a breather. And I hope that you take a breather and get much needed rest, hop into some creative projects that don't feel like work. And we're going to be offline until the new year, but File New will be back at its regular time on Wednesdays on the second week of January, because we come back, I think New Year's Day is January. Yeah, so January 8th. My name is Ryan Selvy. Follow me on Blue Sky at ryanselvy.com, on Instagram, just at Ryan Selvy. And thank you to everyone that was here, and thank you to everyone that watches the replay. I am super grateful to all of you, and thank you to Voodoo Val for being our moderator. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to Ray, Clever, Patrick, Stony, Piotr, all of the lurkers out there too. It's been a pleasure, and this is the end of Adobe Live streaming for the day. We do have more stuff coming up, and I will have the schedule on the thanks for watching. So actually, let's switch over to that, and then I can talk through it too. Guys, secretly, I'm still here. We have at 9 a.m. we have making hyperlapses with Paco Siller. We have at 10 a.m. creating photo patterns with Arabella Espinoza and El Mott. We have holiday bookmarks with Emily Foxwell and Andrew Hockrodel at 11 a.m. Illustrations for Hanukkah with Jess Goldsmith at 12 p.m. and Magical Composites with Jesus Ramirez at 1 p.m. And then on Thursday, we have Pixel Perfect Packaging with Andrew Hockrodel and Megan Bill. I should know that. 3D in photo compositions with Howard Pinsky. 11 a.m. is festive phone wallpapers with Jacob Paris. 12 p.m. is printable ornaments with Voodoo Val and Cody Bear. And illustrating paper dolls with Way to Cuff at 1 p.m. Thank you guys all for being here, and appreciate you. And we'll see y'all